conference of Oscar Valdez versus Shakur Stevenson. Hmm. All right. Hmm. Oscar Valdez, ladies and gentlemen, was an Olympian. That means he has pedigree. That means he can box. He's a well-conditioned athlete. He can go 12 rounds, can go hard. He's gone through adversity a lot in his career, and that adversity has helped him as a fighter. Shakur Stevenson has been technically beautiful, has been dominating every single opponent, hasn't gone through the adversity that Oscar Valdez has. That doesn't mean he's not a dog. Now, I was just watching at the press conference, and I'm hoping that Shakur is not underestimating Oscar Valdez. What I mean by that is his boxing IQ. Okay, I'm hoping Shakur is not underestimating Oscar Valdez's boxing IQ. Oscar Valdez knocked out Miguel Berchelt boxing him. Okay, so if I know Oscar Valdez is not the greatest boxer in the world, but he can box. Now, what do you need to do with Shakur? Shakur, if he keeps the fight long, you have to get to the inside, which means you have to be able to slip and slide, bob and weave. Stay off center line so you can close the distance on the jab. If Shakur is jabbing, remember he's a southpaw. You have to circle Shakur a certain way to take away his southpaw advantage as much as you can. So these are some of the things. Shakur has developed and he's gotten much better fighting on the inside. But again, Oscar Valdez has a lot of experience. And Oscar Valdez can punch. Okay? So there are a number of things I hope Shakur... I mean, he does spar Terrence Crawford, but still, at the same time, I hope Shakur is not underestimating Oscar Valdez in any way, shape, or form. Oscar Valdez can box. I mean, Shakur must bear in mind that Oscar Valdez might really try to box him, and in so trying to box him, mix up boxing and a little bit of banging. But he needs to hurt Shakur first, so he has to set a trap for him. So I do expect Oscar Valdez, I expect Reynoso to come up with a game plan to try and walk Shakur into a trap, especially if Shakur is overconfident and he tries to boldly go up against Oscar Valdez. Oscar Valdez could catch him with a shot and hurt him, just like how Shane Mosley caught Floyd with a shot and hurt him. So if Shakur is thinking that, yeah, Oscar Valdez, sometimes he throws hooks, and yes, sometimes he bangs, and yes, he's been outboxed a number of times. But I don't think that Shakur should take Oscar Valdez very lightly. Oscar Valdez could trap set him. I saw Marcus Maidana set a trap for Floyd Mayweather. I've seen Shane Mosley put a trap for Floyd Mayweather. And Shakur will have to be tough enough to rebound from those things. He might get hit by Oscar Valdez. So I'm hoping that Shakur is not taking Oscar Valdez lightly in any way, shape, or form. I don't care how much training he has. He needs to keep his eyes open when he's dealing with Oscar Valdez. Of course, he will have to be the ring general. He'll have to dictate the terms, but to be able to do that, there's a number of things. Okay, so if, let's say we were Oscar Valdez, and we had to deal with a Shakur Stevenson, every fighter is beatable. Every fighter is beatable. You can't go into a fight facing a fighter thinking he's unbeatable. All right? What, therefore, is the problem with Shakur Stevenson? I'm going to tell you. Well, first of all, Shakur Stevenson is a nasty fighter. He's not the biggest power puncher, but he got good power. He's technically sound. But as with all fighters, there are certain things you can exploit and you can explore. And if you're a thinking fighter and you're setting traps, you can walk a fighter into a trap that you set. So the first thing is what you want Shakur to do, you want him to walk you down. This is what Oscar Valdez did to Miguel Berchelt. He made Berchelt come to him. So Oscar Valdez, if he's smart enough, is not going to go looking for Shakur. He's going to do something. Well, obviously he has to establish himself early. He's got to make Shakur know that he's there. But what he really wants Shakur to do is come to him. So if you're dealing with a fighter like Shakur, now Shakur, he has a certain way of walking down opponents. He's been working on it. He's borrowed from Canelo's manuscript, and he's walking down fighters using precise footwork. But even then, a fighter still can get hit with something. You could set him up for a counter. So what Oscar Valdez needs to do is box Shakur, and he needs to establish a certain kind of range, and then from there, he needs to walk Shakur into something. All right? So I believe that's what Oscar Valdez's game plan would be. Part of his game plan will be that. Now, I hope Shakur is aware of that and not overconfident. He's going to walk straight into the trap, and Oscar Valdez will hurt him. And he needs to hurt him early. So I hope Shakur Stevenson is thinking about that. He's a young guy. You know, he's got a lot of confidence, but he still has a lot to learn, Shakur. So I'm very much hoping that he doesn't walk into a trap that Oscar Valdez might set for him. You know, and the thing about it is, Oscar might bait him into the trap by, you know, Shakur successfully hitting Oscar Valdez with certain shots. And he's not getting his money punch off, but he's hitting him, and he doesn't realize it's a bait. He's baiting him in to hurt him. So I hope Shakur is mindful of that and stays in balance. Because, I mean, Shakur so far in his pro career hasn't really been in much adversity. Oscar Valdez has. All right, so I hope he doesn't underestimate Oscar Valdez and realize that Oscar Valdez can trap set. He can set up certain things, especially with Reynoso. Reynoso's going to come up with something. So he better be mindful of that, and he better be, you know, sensible about it. Oscar Valdez is not just going to throw punches. I think Reynoso is kind of refining him, getting back to his amateur pedigree, amateur roots. So I expect a much more refined Oscar Valdez, but at the same time doing the right things. Moving, shifting head positions, you know, trying to close the distance. Maybe not bob and weave, but slip and slide where you can. And stuff like that. Walk the guy into traps, you know, use his jab, you know. So I expect something like that from Oscar Valdez. I expect him to mix it up a little bit. And as the fight goes on, I expect Oscar Valdez to pick it up and really start to bring the heat down the stretch. So it's down the stretch we got to look at with these kinds of fights. And it'll come down to conditioning. It'll come down to, you know, it's 12 rounds. So it's going to come down to a lot of factors. So we'll see. You know, Oscar Valdez, he's playing with 12 rounds. He needs to hurt Shakur somewhere inside of those 12 rounds. He needs to set the tone early. He needs to be smart at the same time. So if I was facing a guy like Shakur and I was Oscar Valdez, I'm trying to walk him into something. That's what I'm trying to do. Let Shakur be the aggressor. Let him be walking me down a little bit. You know, that's where I could set up my left hook, or I could set up whatever. He's expecting a left hook, and maybe I come with something else, you know, uppercut or something. So, especially my right hand. My right hand would be the dominant hand because it's a southpaw. And then, you know, there's a number of different things and nuances. I wouldn't go into the details, but my game plan would be to try and walk him into something. Okay? All right. Now, in terms of, and see, now you got to expect a guy of Shakur's caliber, after you walk him into something, you expect him to be tough, so you expect him to rebound and maybe even intensify whatever he plans on doing. Now, Oscar Valdez, he has a lot of flaws in his game. He gets hit a lot. Hopefully, he can tighten up his D a little bit. If you're going to try and get a guy to come to you and bait him in, you better not get, you know, caught with a hell of a lot of shots. You're going to get caught with shots. So there's that as well. Anyway, that's what I got for you guys. What you need. Getting out of here again. Hope you guys are having a good day. God bless you all. Peace. Coming back with another video.